Each Sunday night, I'd watch the practice with none of my friends. I'd turn the dial to ABC to see the creep of the week that Bobby Donald defends. But I'm out of practice.
With your hosts, Keith Varney. Already adjusting my sound.
And thwarted by technology, Mike Indeglio.
Way back in high school, most every night, my mom watched QVC, so I missed the practice. There was no TiVo, what could I do? Wait 15 years, get fat, then stream it on Hulu. Out of practice.
Thanks for the new fancy lights guy at Amazon who can't read barcodes.
They write that shit off. No harm, no foul.
Out of practice.
And welcome to the Out of Practice Podcast, a weekly podcast in which me, Keith, and my old buddy Mike, we talk about a show from the late 90s, early 2000s. And this week we are talking about The Practice Season 6, Episode 20, Evil Doers. Evil/Doers. It's a big episode. It's a big episode, folks. So, very excited to talk about it. Very excited to say hello to my old buddy Mike. How's it going, Mike?
It's going well. I want to get into it. We're wrapping up the season here, so I'll say at the top, and then I will blatantly disregard it in mere moments. That we'll try to keep the front of the episode a little bit tighter this week, but I do have some things to share. One,
No.
Keith, I want to hear the story quickly because I have a technological story about your new lighting. You're so bright, yet you're still cheap enough to not buy good glasses. So we've got to stare at your new lights in the reflection of them in your glasses.
Yes,
this
you do.
week.
Oh, look, like I'm Geordie if I line it up
You're
exactly
almost
right.
Geordie, yeah, almost Geordie. A lot of
Yeah,
similarities.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, except for the usefulness at anything. So I decided to. This week, Jillian was doing a whole mess of self-tapes, and we were setting up lighting and taking down lighting and setting up... there's a whole bunch of stuff, and we realized now that we're sort of both recording stuff constantly, we might as well get a decent rig that we can set up static. So we're not having to tear it up, set it down, refocus the lights over, like multiple times a week, which is a huge pain in the butt. So I was like, let me just order a couple of new lights. I got a new USB hub. I'm going to hook up a third monitor so I can see a little bit better what's in front of me. Blah, 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 blah. So I go on Amazon and I buy like these cheap LED lights. Going to do a little box, little box there, little box there. And I'm like, oh, you know what? Lights aren't fancy. What the hell? I'll get the refurbished ones. Who gives a shit, right? And paid like $50 for them. And shows up on my doorstep from Amazon, and it's this huge box, and it's crazy heavy. And I'm like, well, I knew this was coming today, but those are clearly not by like 4x6 inch pair of lights. And did Jillian order some? Anyway, open it up. There's this huge like fancy carrying case, and I open it, and inside it, even though it has the barcode of what I ordered, is a much fancier like $200 set 3-pack of big fancy LED lights from the same company. So here you can see what it looks like. It's these things with 3 big stands.
You basically got a lightsaber?
I have 3 lightsabers with their own stands, and they get so bright.
Yeah, real bright.
If I take them all the way. So I was very pleased. I got a surprise new lighting rig from Amazon. So
sweet.
Cheers.
I went the opposite way, man. So you'll recall my saga of trying to watch my freaking one of my senior showcases.
Oh yes, I can't wait to see the clip.
I got the VCR. I got the RGB to HDMI converter. Awesome.
Nice.
I sit down to do it yesterday. And yesterday was my day to get stuff done. That was great. It's a great Sunday. Great little Sunday. Keith, when I moved, I did something that you would never do, and you're going to be so mad at me for having done it. I went through my too many boxes of random wires because you never know when you're going to need to MacGyver something. And I was just like,
yourself?
I dewired of a lot of things. I was like, I will not ever need this. And you know what one of those choices was? RGB cables. Because who needs RGB, right?
So your limitation is you don't have a 50-cent RGB cable?
Yeah, not one RGB to RGB. So I'm like,
my God.
So now I've got all the converters, but I can't actually get from the VCR to the RGB converter. And I was going to just go to the Walmart,
right,
or the Target, but in the same vein as you, I'm not paying $8 for something I can get for $1 on Amazon. I'm not going to do it.
That's true.
So it should show up today. I did order the cable, and then finally we're going to get to see the 30-second clip that will not live up to the hype that
Which I have been looking forward to for weeks now. Like, I am so invested in seeing this clip. That's the reason I get up in the morning, is to see this clip of Mike's
There's no guarantee
journey.
that this VHS has anything on it, but I hope it does. I hope it is.
Well, whatever it is, we're gonna watch. if you accidentally taped over it in the middle of the night with an episode of Red Shoe Diaries, we're gonna watch it.
The Coveney, baby. We'll just watch him saunter down that beach. All right, what else we got?
Oh my goodness. Yeah, so what else is going on? Not a lot. We're here doing this. I'm excited about it.
Going on vacation next week. I'll take pictures so that we can all relive it.
Oh yes, that's fun. Oh, and so Jillian is going in. She's in right now. Took the train in for the first time from our new house for her first in-person rehearsal back at Ripley.
Ooh, nice. Can we talk about the project or no? We're not.
Oh yeah, it's just a recording.
Oh, cool.
So she's doing she's on like an album that a friend wrote. So
cool.
But she had to get on the New Jersey Transit for the first time since we moved here. Apocalypse, and I drove her to the train station. She was door to door from our house to Ripley in an hour.
That's great.
So, which is as long as it took from Astoria.
Yeah, really, when you figure about it. Yeah, well, I did it a couple weeks ago for rehearsal, and same difference, door to door. Well, I had to get on a train schedule. It's completely different, but it's 2 hours. It took 2 hours and 5 minutes to get to my rehearsal because the new train station, the new Amtrak, is like right across from Ripley, so it's helpful.
Right. Oh yeah. Right. Yeah. What were you?
Until we make that next move, just Jersey Boys stuff.
Yeah.
Which that gig fell through anyway. So here we go.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. Screw them anyway. But until you move to Rahway and live right next door to us.
Or my brother-in-law's moved to Temecula.
A couple doors.
I just might move to Temecula.
I just want to point out, I want you to live close, but not like drop in close. Like hey, text me you want to go play ping pong. You're talking to the right guy.
My sister has been the queen of the drop-in since we moved over here, and I didn't know people still did that.
No, don't you dare show up to my house unannounced. That
would require desire on my part. So trust me, we're in the same.
No, thankfully, my lack of likability really does help with the drop-ins. But I'm just saying, we got the ping pong table set up now.
Oh, that's big. That is a contributing factor.
And I've been practicing because you can set up half of it and play against yourself, and I've been doing that. It's pretty cool. Since puberty. Well, yeah. Yes. I'm ambidextrous about that too.
We should get going here.
All right. Well, let me see. Do you have any feline updates?
Nope. Not really. Things are normal. We are, like I said, we're going on vacation next week, and my wife, look, I'm pretty OCD when it comes to the pet care. Generally, we like a person to come and Keith was our previous cat sitter.
Back in the day, yeah.
We tested a new cat sitter who got mixed reviews for our last weekend away, but we don't really have any other options out here, so we're going away for a full week. Jen is even more OCD than me about this. So we're having this cat person come twice a day for 7 days.
Yeah.
And it is expensive. And I'm like, Jen, now they are good. We could just put a bowl down and probably be good with once a day cat sitter. She won't have it. So it's costing like $400.
Oh my
God. That isn't part of my vacation to pay.
That's like a full-time job.
Yeah, it's like $25 a visit. So it's like $50 a day. It's a lot.
Wow. That is a lot. Well, but aren't you going to your cabin? Can't you just take them?
Well, we're not staying at the cabin. We're staying at this like fancy Airbnb glamping cabin. See. I wouldn't take all 3 of them in the car. Jeez, no way.
That would be exciting. All right, folks. Well, that was Hot Cat content, which Mike said, no, I've got nothing to talk about, so I didn't play the bumper. But then he talked about it. So, I will play the bumper for
Filings and Subpoenas. Filings and Subpoenas. Filings and Subpoenas. Filings and Subpoenas.
And you know what? Let's just get out of the way at the top. Mike, if people wanted to file or subpoena us, how would they do it?
Well, when 2 people really love each other, they go ahead and bring me coffee, Jen. Do you want it? My wife is so awesome. She's really great. She was a little upset with the joke I made about killing off CEO Jen. Didn't make for a pleasant coffee discussion.
Oh no.
But then she did pitch some ideas, and we got some fun stuff, which I guess we're going to do. Anyway,
excellent.
You could be like my wife, and instead of talking to me on the porch, just write me an email at outofpracticepodcast@gmail.com. Check us out on the social media.
You can text Mike at 646. No, I'm kidding.
At Out of Practice Podcast on the Facebook or the Instagram. Or, hey, guess what? Even check out our other Instagram at Star Trek Toys.
Yes.
Or check out that channel and give us a like because we are doing okay over there.
We're doing okay, yeah. Look at my Star Trek toys here on the YouTube, part of the KME Entertainment Empire, which is redundant because this Keith and Mike Entertainment is what KME stands for, but I feel like I have to say that. It's, whatever. But, we do at least one episode a week just talking Star Trek and toys and nonsense. So check it out if you're not already. All right, so speaking of somebody who we thank for being a dutiful watcher of both shows, it's our moderator, Phoenix Cage, who has a couple of things. First off, the what we have here is a feud happening between Phoenix and Mike, thankfully, because Mike and Phoenix and I have been feuding for years, and I'm really happy that Mike is doing a heel turn. And Phoenix is coming for him. Yeah. So he says, and because he gave you shit last week for talking over the best joke of the Joey Herrick episode. And so he says, "Oh, Mike, I know that you talk over the show all the time, but John Larroquette's best joke in the episode is where I draw the line. I've got a sure fix. I'm designing a remote pause button that will be controlled by an actuator in your jaw." I think I would like to see that. And hey, I wasn't complaining, just offering a time-saving suggestion. But I'd take an hour of more TV over a single minute of 20-year-old sports or weather any day. All right, so you're back to face. I'm the heel.
We're tag teams again.
Oh, look at that!
Just a little behind behind baseball, inside baseball. Keith and I initially, when we were first trying to do the show, we had rigged up one of these Hulu watch party type situations so that we could each pause and start the episode over each other when we had something pertinent to say. And let me tell you, if you think it's a cluster hump now.
Oh my goodness.
That thing, but there's a slight delay and there was it was a disaster. No. So be lucky that it's as streamlined as it is currently.
Well, and the way I cue Mike to pause it is just talk loudly until he pauses it. And then sometimes he doesn't.
You probably can't hear it anymore. Oh, wow, this is pointless, but it's funny. That I have a mechanical keyboard, so it's loud on the clicky clacks. And when I am pausing and unpausing, I'm smacking that space bar. But my microphone's pretty good now, so it gates it out. However, I used to do that on purpose because it was more often than not, something would go wrong and I would not record the audio. So I'd have to go back in, rewatch the episode, and listen for where I'd clack the space bar to pause it to try to sync it all up. So if you'll notice a couple of the episodes way back when, the audio is just not right. Because at some point I'd have to wave the white flag and just say, it's going to have to be good enough.
Yeah, no, we started out a little rough. We were figuring it out like a baby deer learning to walk. And now we're an old big fat deer and we still can't walk.
Yeah, with like that lost a hoof in a battle. With technology.
Yes, exactly. All right, moving forward. So Phoenix continues.
But he also has a really nice compliment for you, doesn't he, Keith?
I don't know. I don't read these things ahead of time. He continues. Awesome. You are hearing. I'm reading it cold. I have no idea what Phoenix says ahead of time. It makes it fresher. Mm-hmm. So he continues. Unlike those, meaning 20-year-old sports or weather, more TV actually serves a purpose. In fact, based on the suggestions from the last one, I watched the Back to the Future episodes of the movies that made us, and I followed Keith's suggestion and watched Resident Alien. Alan Tudyk is great. I'm already 6 episodes in. I'm holding off on Ted Lasso, but it's been on my list for a while. It's Bill Lawrence's show, so I've heard a lot about it on the Scrubs podcast, where he is a frequent guest.
Phoenix, for you and me, with the movies that made us, I love it because I love to get the information behind the scenes stuff. The one thing that wears on me after a few episodes is the tone. It's very tries to make fun of itself and joke about itself. It's too tongue in cheek and meta that it gets a little annoying. I'd rather just why can't we take it seriously? But discussion for a different day.
I'd really like to just isolate that last comment and then remember what podcast you're on.
Yeah, you're right. That's
one thing that I don't like about this show is the one tiny similarity with the show that I'm currently talking on right this minute.
That's not what I'm saying.
Making fun of ourselves, breaking the fourth wall. Are you kidding? That's all we do.
Yeah, you're right. Okay, let's go forward.
All right, moving forward.
I'd much rather listen to us narrate that show, P.S., but that's because I'm a self-serving narcissist, so...
Well, we have a podcast. What else? I mean, that's already proven. And Phoenix is going to do some analysis, and he can probably do some analysis on us.
I can't wait to see that TED Talk, that paper.
But
when
before
it gets published.
that, he can. Wow, he's got a lot to say today. All right, so here is part 2. As the official YouTube moderator, I have some YouTube notes.
He doesn't do much moderating. It's more just he's
moderating
talks
himself.
Yeah.
There's nobody else talking, so it's tough to moderate. He's monologuing. He's our official YouTube monologuer. Mm-hmm. He has some YouTube notes. First, Mike did in fact add all the B-roll he referenced, and the only thing I like more than B-roll is cat B-roll. Second, this episode was missing the chapters segmentation. Oh, Mike, you didn't do the chapters.
I fixed it.
And third, I'm a little stunned by how far Keith's video quality has come. He's got just the right amount of light on him and nothing superfluous in the shot. But instead of simply being a floating head in the void, he's got the shifting lights of his Star Trek figure collection in the background, giving it some ambiance and depth. I can't help but compare that to the first episode on YouTube, where the only positive thing I could come up with was that the wall right behind him sure seemed to be doing a good job at holding up the ceiling. You may not have thousands of viewers, but you've got one that notices things that thousands would overlook.
How much improvement can lighting have when one man hasn't left the house in clear over 1 year?
At least coming up on a year and a half now. Good Lord. All right, so thank you, Phoenix. I'm trying to up my game, as we referenced today with the new lights. I'm trying to keep up with Mike. I've been texting Mike what is your rig? What is your setup? Because it always looks good.
It's skin care and nightly facial massages.
Massages?
Moisturizing.
Well, I can't wait to get a nice facial massage. I think you massaged your lips too much. All right. Phoenix has one more point, but I think it's a very interesting one. Because as we know, Phoenix has psychological training. And he says, I couldn't definitively diagnose. This is about Bobby, because we've been shitting on Bobby the last couple of weeks. And And so he says, I couldn't definitively diagnose Bobby with narcissistic personality disorder because we don't see enough of his personal life on the show. But I can confirm that the examples Keith pointed out from this episode, i.e., overtly prioritizing how other people view you and an inability to empathize. Woo, see, I'm reading cold. There it is. Are both consistent with NPD. However, I can also think of some counterexamples, such as back when Bobby insisted that Eugene take over running the firm indefinitely. A narcissist typically wouldn't willingly give up titles or prestige because they rely on the superficial to make up for what they lack inside. And there's also an example from this episode. In closing, Bobby almost throws the case to protect Lindsay, but for a narcissist, winning is everything, and self-esteem they have is based on how others view them, so between how Lindsay views them versus how the whole city watching this highly publicized case views him, there's no question a narcissist would do anything for the chance to be viewed as a winner by as many people as possible. If you or either of the listeners is interested in learning more about NPD, I highly recommend checking out Dr. Ramani, who is a clinical psychologist with an extensive YouTube series specifically on the subject of narcissism. Yeah, I think that's fascinating. Did we bring up NPD?
Yeah, well, yes. I think you specifically referred to him as a narcissist. Yeah. However, I think our final diagnosis is less a narcissist and more he's just a straight up asshole.
Yeah, what is what's the clinical term for you're just kind of an asshole?
He's also damaged, he's also damaged, so we give him a little bit of empathy.
No, everybody is. And I get it. And but still, you're still responsible for how you treat others.
Well, he's going to need to get over it because when we get to what does Mike think's going to happen, we're going to need Bobby.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for your clinical opinion, Phoenix, as well as the enjoyment of my Star Trek lights, which, have they gone out?
They're not on.
Oh, what the hell? I turned them on.
Which makes me so gleeful.
Son of a poop. After all that... There they are. Okay. See,
a man with too much time and disposable income.
Minus the income. So stupid.
Really dumb. Really straight up dumb.
Well, let's do something smart and move forward. But before we leave filings and subpoenas, folks, I have a favor to ask. We ask it every week, but we don't do it so explicitly every week. And because this one, folks, listener, I don't know if you can go and retract it and make a new one. But we could. A lot
of people in the past, so we're talking to you from the future, or from the past to the future, listeners who have joined us late. We still need you, even though you think, it's a year late. I don't need to do it. We could still use it because we got an empire to build. Like Alexander the Great.
Yes. And like Alexander the movie, we're 3.5 hours long, and we sort of just slowly peter out and grind to a halt. But you can tell the world about it by joining the jury. Leave a rating and review on Apple Podcasts or any other podcasting service of your choice. Let us know. We will gratefully welcome you to the jury. We will read your comment, good, bad, or ugly, and you get to have your name here with a bunch of real people, some fake people, and 15 different spellings of Phoenix Cage here on our jury splash. We would very much appreciate it. And I know what you would appreciate. Us moving forward, for God's sakes, and hopping into the time machine and answering life's eternal question. Hey, Mike, on May 12th, 2002, what were you doing?
This day in the basement.
Well, Keith, here the dates are still fuzzy. We're getting back into time when I have concrete collateral to confirm when certain dates were. But I do know this: after school finished, New York had already taken a toll on me. I had lived in Harlem for the past year-ish, and instead of going right into auditioning, interestingly enough, I chose to go home. I actually moved in to my mom's literal basement. From what you'll see here, 127th Street, St. Nicholas. That was my actual apartment right there we're looking at. It was beautiful. It was huge. It was awesome.
Yeah, boy, that's
But we
nice...
decided to then move all the way
Wow.
back to Pennsylvania into my mom's basement right here in the gated 55-plus community in Trapp, Pennsylvania. And there I lived literally in the basement
Wow.
for a little bit of time until I would get my first audition coming up in a little bit of time. We'll talk about it when we get there at the Mount Gretna Playhouse. But my audition took place at the Walnut Street Theater with this guy, Will Stutz, who changed my life, really, in many ways. Just an amazing artist, an amazing man. He passed away last year. R.I.P. Will. Speaking of, on a side note, we were talking about John Larroquette. I think we'll take our time to say that we talked about Night Court last week, or 2 weeks ago, and good old Marcy Post, we lost this week, so R.I.P. shout out there. And yeah, so that's all. I moved in with my mom. I was literally back in the basement, which was weird because I still was dating my girlfriend at the time, and she'd have to come visit me in my mom's basement. It was like I was living the
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, living the that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that was
It was
super...
not a finished basement, I should say. I brought
nice.
it. It was. I wanted to torture myself a little bit, and I did. But luckily, it wasn't long before I got a gig and got the hell out of there.
Yeah. Well, fair enough. I think we're all entitled to that, and I don't have a necessarily dissimilar story. But first of all, those graphics, all the video work, very cool. Very cool.
That
if
was
you
just
missed
Google
it on
Earth.
YouTube,
That was Google
I
Earth.
know, but you had to save it and clipped it and all that kind of stuff. So
But you had to save it. So
you had to save it. You had to load it up. That's a lot of work. I'm telling you. If you're missing this on YouTube, there's some really cool Google Earth footage where if you wanted to stalk Mike 20 years ago, you would be in luck. So if you have a time machine and you would like to stalk Mike and Deglio, now you have everything you need.
and feed on my corpse. I mean, let's stick to the themes of the show. You could feed on me.
That's true. Put his head in your freezer. It's it's fun and easy, and apparently you can get away with it. So,
I just got an air fryer. You could air fry my head. I feel like that would probably more healthy that way.
I mean, certainly, if you want to eat some diet, Mike, that's definitely the way to go. We've gone on a weird journey. This is a weird journey. All right.
A roller coaster, some would say, Keith.
Somebody would say, because, folks, May 12th, the year 2002, was the end of my college career. Classes were ending, and we were going on our class trip to Six Flags Darien Lake out near Buffalo. And that is the Man of Steel Superman roller coaster, which is one of my all-time favorite roller coasters I've ever been on. Have you been on it?
Yeah.
It's so much fun. It's not super crazy or loopy, but what it is fast and really, really satisfying. I think I went on it maybe 9-10 times.
Which is better than this podcast, which is generally crazy and loopy but slow. So,
yes, this one will leave you nauseous and with your neck a little sore because you're just sort of knocked around and confused. But Six Flags Darien Lake was super fun. But what I was also doing at this point, as I mentioned before, last week, had decided that, you know what, this opera thing is not for me. I had turned down the summer at doing opera, and I was like, I want to go home too. And I decided I wanted to spend the last summer before I moved to New York, because I was building plans with a couple of my Eastman buddies to move to Brooklyn, and to the start of the journey. But I was like, I want to spend one more summer at home and play hockey. And so I signed up for 2 different teams in a men's league, not men's league, a co-ed adult league in Vermont called Full Stride. It's super fun. Still operated by an ex-NHL player, super nice guy. And so I did an instructional league. I was in Division 2, I was in Division 3, and spent the we'll get to it in the season oopsies, what else was going on that summer, but I was signing up for that, and classes were done. I was sort of riding out the last couple of weeks because, spoiler alert, this was May 12th, May 19th, 1 week later, boom, graduation, kids. We're going to talk about it next week. So that's what's going on in the basement. Let's zoom out and talk about...
It's time for the Out of Practice Podcast's This Day in the World. The greatest hits, the biggest movies, headlines from Vermont, essential sports updates, and for some inexplicable reason, the weather from 20 years ago. Now back to Keith and Mike.
Well, folks, here in 2002, we were continuing to listen to, well... I'll explain. I was reading the word foolish, so I had this sh in my head. So, of course, this is Foolish, performed by Ashanti. The top movie continued to be Spider-Man. In its second week of domination, took in another $40-something million. Coming up the week after that, it's another giant movie. It's a really crazy time for movies. Tobey Maguire, who we're going to see back again as Spider-Man in the upcoming Spider-Man whatever the hell they're calling it. The cover of the Burlington Free Press, talk about timely, says church responds quickly to claims. And I looked it up, and it was in Vermont, everywhere. It was a priest named Charles Manny, who, of course, were molesting kids in Essex, Vermont. And so glad the church responded quickly, took responsibility, and really made that right. It's such a good job. As this was, I think, when roughly the time when Spotlight was happening, it was breaking in Boston. They made the movie about it, Spotlight. So if you want to have your blood boil, take a look into that. And I'm sorry for whatever you punch on the wall in fury. All right, well, moving forward, interesting. Keep a listen to it. This episode might be some references. Let us move forward to Phoenix's favorite segment. I wouldn't do this segment if it weren't for Phoenix. If he's constantly begging for more information.
A lot of emails, maybe too many actually requesting.
Maybe a bit much. The begging for this segment is a bit much. But you know what? You ask, we deliver. It's time for...
It's time for sports ball.
The NHL semifinals were in full swing, with the Habs losing to Carolina in 6 and the Leafs beating Ottawa in 7 in the Eastern Conference. Out west, the Avs beat the Sharks in 7 games, and the Red Wings dominated the Blues to win the series in 5. According to contemporaneous emails, I was rooting for Toronto versus Ottawa, but I would root for Carolina moving forward. So if you want to know what was going on and who I was rooting for, because I didn't remember, but I emailed my mom, and, my mom and I, we talk a lot of hockey. My mom is a diehard hockey fan. Like,
I am not. I just listen to the loud bumper and go somewhere in my mind.
Okay, all right, you open the door. Where did you go in your mind today?
I was actually thinking about baseball because I was going to impart like that for those of us who live in Philadelphia and haven't reached the playoffs in almost 9 years, I think. It's been a playoff atmosphere. We've caught the New York Mets. We've surpassed the New York Mets for the lead of the pennant in the the NL East. And it's been like watching playoff baseball, which I haven't done in so long, and it's been exciting. And that's all the sports I'll talk today.
Wow. Okay. Well, there it is. Okay. Well, we got another good bumper. Here it is.
I'm a human being. God damn it!
No. Whoa. Hold on.
Whoa.
You didn't hear. I wasn't ready for that.
Wait, it's the next thing that comes up, and you were the last person who talked.
2, 1.
I'm a human being. God damn it! My life has value, and I'm not gonna take this anymore.
How'd it go?
Wait, no, we're gonna do this. Stop. No. Run it back.
Oh, for Christ's sakes, nobody's
3,
watching this.
2, 1.
I'm a human being. God damn it! My life has value, and I'm not gonna take this anymore.
Oh my God.
It's time to talk about the day.
We're like 200 episodes in. You know how tired people are of all of our bumpers by now?
Somebody might be like, hey, why don't you just combine the bumper with the video transition and just run them from one side of the planet instead of trying to do it all through the internet? You'd be right. But we decided to divide chores, and it's just the way it is, people. So deal with it.
We are running a 3-legged race in a not 3-legged race. We'll go faster together.
We at least have the data of how inefficient we are, and it proves that we are, in fact, very inefficient.
It's not good. It's not good. Wow, that was good. All right, well, guess what? We are talking about The Practice Season 6, Episode 20, Evil/Doers. And it was directed... David E. Kelley is coming in for the home stretch. He wrote the last 3 episodes all by his lonesome. This is directed by veteran director Andy Wolk, who last directed Fireproof, which leaves us with one important question.
What is that supposed to mean?
What's your problem?
Is this what happens to women when you insert your penis?
What?
What does Mike think's gonna happen?
What if he would have drank the curdled milk? Then what would have happened?
I thought of that question, Jimmy, yesterday when we were sitting down to enjoy coffee, and the cream was curdled, and I could only think of Jimmy Berluti. So my life is scarred forever, it turns out.
Well, what did happen? I guess that's my question.
We didn't roll the dice. We just poured it down the drain and got more cream.
Good. I think that's the right call.
Yeah. Remember that time you ate that broccoli that was questionable? I learned from you.
Oh, Jesus. I almost died. It's not good.
So, guys, I've decided that this is not going to be a grape jelly situation. There's not going to be a hanging Chad. We are going to get resolution, and here's what's going to happen. Now, might sound familiar because Bobby was everybody's been on trial for something, mostly, or faced legal troubles. Bobby is our only murder defendant, but that will only last a few more moments, Keith, because in this week's episode, as we predicted last week, Lindsay going to get stalked again, okay? And Lindsay, because we've been telling her that she needs to buck up, and because her friends are assholes and don't really give a shit about her, especially Bobby, she's going to take some shit into her own hands, Keith. And she's not going to just hire some bully to go scare Hannibal Lecter. She gets herself a little piece from Helen Gamble, and I think Lindsay blows this guy away. All right?
Wow. Okay.
I think Lindsay straight up self-defense murders this man. Much like Eleanor has done, so it's not out of the question.
To be fair, yeah, we do have a precedent for this. Bobby got 3 cops and William Hanks killed. Eleanor shot George Vogelman dead. Helen got the guy who was threatening, I forget who he was threatening, but murdered somebody else by cop. Has anybody else murdered anybody? Unclear. I think those are the only 3 characters have actively killed somebody.
Now, here's the thing, Keith. While he lies dying, Hannibal Lecter, we're going to get a shot or a scene, maybe not a full scene, but a shot of him enjoying it sexually, if you know what I mean, because it's Lindsay and he's going to really enjoy it, if you know what I'm saying, because that's me bringing the gross but sexy.
I was wondering how you were going to make it sexy, and boy, you didn't. All right, well, folks, do you know what's going to happen? Because Mike just told you. We're going to find out. And how we're going to do that, we're going to go listen to the episode and talk some shit. So hop over to your podcasting service of choice, and we will see you back here for the After Show Show!
And we are back, baby!
Oh, wow.
Holy shit.
We've had yet another of our cast member kill somebody. Woo!
Yeah.
Another one bites the dust. It is the 3rd. Like, they're kind of... Our cast is now Dexter. They kill serial killers. Our firm is a serial killing firm that kills serial. They're literally Dexter.
Is there like in the yellow pages? Is there ad like, have you been in an accident? Do you need a law firm where every lawyer has been acquitted of murder?
Do you need someone creepy killed? Because we can and will do it. All right. Well, speaking of creepy things.
2, 3, 4. Mike has 30 seconds to remember what just happened on the show. Segment.
Hey guys, there's twin brothers who one of them raped somebody, and apparently we don't care too much to figure out which one it was because we're just trying to play them against each other to get what we want. Be it Helen, be it Eugene. Guess what? Nobody gets what they want. The right guy gets away. The wrong guy goes to prison. The right guy gets away, I guess. We don't really talk much more about it. Lindsay's getting stalked by this guy. They try to get him civilly put away, but she loses that. And so Lindsay's like, you know what? I'd rather just blow him away.
Yeah. There it is. Well, if you weren't blown away by that synopsis, get ready, because you're going to get blown away by this one.
Twin brothers in crime? Something's eating at Lindsay. One perp walks away.
Yeah. Ooh, that's something eating at Lindsay. I like it. Way to work in the cannibalism.
And only one perp walks away. It covers all the bases, baby.
Well done. That's yeah. Very, very good. Good job, Mike. Now it is time to hand out some good job other people in our awards show entitled
Ladies and gentlemen, the Out of Practice podcast, in unofficial, unsolicited, unfactual association with David E. Kelly Productions, proudly present
OOPSY.
The OOPSYs! Celebrating excellence in acting good, lawyering good, guesting good, and being Tom Brady. Not to mention, this is where we rate the episode and stuff. Now, here are your hosts, Keith and Mike.
Pop.
What the hell are the OOPSYs?
Well, I'll tell you, Jackie. It's a fake show that begins with a very real bumper that sounds like... Amazing. All right. So, yeah.
You know, look, Helen blew it. Eugene blew it. You know who I think kind of did the most valuable for her client, although he doesn't dead. I'm going to have to say, who's McNulty? The actress, the actress McNichol, who was playing McGinty. It was very Irish, very on-the-nose Irish names. She's the one who got Hannibal.
McNichol playing McGonagall.
She was able to protect Hannibal Lecter from being unjustly committed. Even though it would have been just, but it was unjust in this circumstance. I think she deserves it the most.
Wow, that's interesting. Okay. Yeah.
Most valuable to her client. I don't know that society at large, but...
No, yeah. I mean, normally the logical thing would be to give it to Helen because she won her case. She did exactly what she was trying to do. She made a good close. But it's hard to give it to her when she didn't bother to get the right twin. Mm-hmm. And
it was clearly they laid that breadcrumb about the stabbing because she pretty... I mean, not just like, I thought I got him. I guess I was wrong. I mean, then they had Eugene cross her, and she's like, yeah, I drew blood. I got him. She clearly got him good, too. That scar was intense.
Yeah, and I mean, and it's probably been months and months since, I mean, you know, to get to trial and to get that far. So, yeah, Okay, I was not going to go in this direction, but I think you're right. I think it's McGonagall, the lawyer who helped.
Do you want me to mispronounce it a few more times? Will that do good for our defamation case?
Well, look, based on the prosecution in Boston this week, collecting the evidence for that case would be way too far because you have to sort through 10,000 hours of our nonsense. Although I think you could probably find enough evidence in the pilot. All right. So congratulations, lawyer. Where is it? There we go. State Attorney McGonagall for getting Hannibal free, setting up our finale. It was important to the plot, too. You have to think about the plot characteristics. Okay, it's time. It's time to dance it up. Here we go.
Already famous cause you've been on TV, getting a paycheck, or the first entry on your IMDb. Way to go, but you're the best guest actor. You are the best guest actor. You are the best guest actor on the episode.
It's not easy playing it's not easy playing a brother. All right, it is not easy playing a brother. Less so playing a twin brother with no special effects and fancy Hollywood to make it. You just basically have to get a haircut and act good. And that is what Dorian did this episode. And so I think it's pretty much a no-brainer.
Oh, yeah. No, I think Dorian Harewood did a very, very good job in this episode. I mean, even if the storytelling didn't make a lot of sense, he made sense of it and gave us two believable different characters whose motivations were clear. He's a good Dorian Harewood's just a good actor. Yeah. No, congratulations, Space Jam, on your best guest actor. You don't know, that might be the thing he's most proud of, and he wishes we wouldn't mention Full Metal Jacket. You don't know.
Yes. Yeah, I don't know. You're right.
Dorian, if you're listening, if you are the other listener other than Phoenix, write in. Let us know. Which movie are you prouder of? Okay, now it's time for...
You killed your podiatrist or blew the case, but you let a single tear run down your face. You're the best actor on the show.
Well, listen, Lara Flynn, I saw you work up those tears. I saw you give that close with passion, with grace. But unfortunately,
oh no,
Kelly Williams said, I am going to have a nervous breakdown, and I'm going to do it while still being grounded, while still pleading for any other recourse from the justice system, from my colleagues, from my husband. And at the end of the day, I'm going to murder this man in cold blood with an acting choice that could have gone a million different ways. I'll credit some of the direction and I'll credit Kelly. But she chose to go with, this is what I had to do. And then that last line delivery to Bobby saying, I told you I needed some help. And I just thought every choice was perfect. It wasn't too much. It could have been too much. Kelly Williams wins it and earns it.
Yeah, okay. Well, Lara Flynn.
Okay.
I see you. I saw you working up the tears. I saw that impassioned close. I saw you really bringing the character's experience into her job as the lawyer. And you get an oopsie from me. Oh! Yeah, that's right. You get your oopsie. I thought, of course, Kelly was terrific, but it's time for Lara Flynn to get her due. So we're in a big fight about the best actor on the show. Congratulations, the two of y'alls. And we are in a big fight with...
the Tom Brady Award for being Tom Brady.
Look, there are many things that I'm unsure about, but one thing I am sure of, in fact, it is a bona fide fact, is that only one thing Keith hates more than Tom Brady.
What is that?
And that is Twin Brady. Twin Brady wins the Tom Brady Award for being Tom Brady.
I thought you were going to say exercise.
No, oh yeah, well, that too.
Twin Brady. Okay, that's very, very good. Okay, so now we have to decide, is this episode very, very good? Let's find out.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is time to announce how many spare tires this episode gets.
All right, so, yes. What's great about the spare tires is that it is totally dependent, is totally subjective. It changes based on our mood and all kinds of things.
That's for sure.
This week is interesting because I think I liked parts of it more than I think. Sometimes we like the whole more than the sum of its. Sometimes the sum of its. Whatever the turn of phrase I'm looking for is, I like parts of this.
I think that's the metaphor. It was a car crash of a metaphor. So I just made a metaphor about your disastrous metaphor.
There are parts that I enjoyed more than the sum of those parts, for sure. For example, this show has often been we've often criticized it for dragging out plot lines for too long. Then again, we've thought they've killed some serial killers off too soon. They could have been Hinks. Yeah, they could have been a great recurring plot line. The Hannibal Lecter thing had all of the markings of something that was going to get long in the tooth.
Yeah.
And I think they curbed it right at the right time, but we're still able to, over just 2 episodes, really explore the possibilities of it emotionally through Lindsay. We got to see her exasperation, her dumbfoundedness. We got to see it all because we got to, from this guy eats people, which is starting pretty high, to Lindsay shot him at point blank range in front of Bobby and her child. We got there, and none of it felt, none, but for the most part, I thought it was earned. I thought it was emotionally consistent with what was portrayed. And I think it leaves us a really cool 2 episodes to see where it's going to go. I can't imagine a universe, and I've been wrong many times before, that the next 2 episodes aren't dedicated to the fallout from this. I just can't. I can't see how that's not possible.
Right.
I can't see how that wouldn't be possible. So I really liked it, and I thought that I really liked it. I like where Lindsay's at. I'm pissed off about the Clarissa thing. I can only imagine, Keith, that the Clarissa thing is the only linchpin for us as an audience to hang our hat on, that he was faking it and he's just a serial killer. The Hannibal Lecter thing was just a thing for his trial. That's the only. That's all I got.
It's not a terrible thing to have some ambiguity in there.
Yeah.
But
yeah, we complain often they beat us over the head with certain facts. So it is what it is. So I thought that was cool. The other case, the twin brother case, save an excellent performance by Dorian. I feel like it's feeling a little rote that Eugene is always in these predicaments where he's like, we know the guy's guilty, or like we're led to believe he's guilty, and then there's a twisty twist, and the twisty twist ends up making me hate the case. Like the twisty twist here once again makes me think this is stupid. Nobody does their due diligence. They don't want to put him on the stand. They don't want to find out. It's all about that kind of. It's all about the bluster or the show, the performance of it, rather than like simple due diligence. Fucking put Ray Abruzzo up there. He would have been like, let's see behind your ear. Like you said, it's such a. It feels so tacked on or written backwards, right? Like, oh, let's leave this little breadcrumb because we know at the end we're going to reveal the brother, but then we don't fill in the middle. We don't bother to fill in the middle. It's that same blame we want to put on Helen. We have to put on the writers too, because it's It's lazy. It's lazy.
Yeah.
I can't come up with a better term. And it's unfortunate because excellent performances by Lara Flynn, by Steve Harris, by Michael Badalucco. It's great. The judge, the Dorian, they were great pieces. But the material lets them down a little bit, I think. As a whole, I think the episode is uneven, is wildly uneven then, because we have this like huge emotional and physical thing happening with one plot line. On the other plot line, it's kind of just like a Chelsea Handler, also excellent in this episode. And this poor lady, she's like, I do all the things that is hard to do. You come forward and try to prosecute a rape, which at the best of times is difficult to do. But when they lose your rape kit and they bring up a twin brother and you stab the guy, you did everything they teach you to do, and still it's not open and shut. And at this point, the guy still gets away.
Right. She doesn't know that, but yes.
And not that random people can't commit rapes. I don't know even remotely enough about the psychopathy of this stuff. But also this oncologist who, if it is to be believed, has never raped anybody before, and just is like cruising down the street and decides, I'm going to rape this lady, seems wildly, it doesn't seem to fit. It's a red herring that they decide they want to make an actual herring. I'm confusing you know what I'm saying? Like a Deus Machina red herring for real. Like, it's just this thing it's this needle they try to thread so often, and it's rarely ever worked. Yeah. Rarely ever worked. So that all said, I just couldn't love it. I'm going to give it an 8 point. It's still a good episode.
That's pretty high, yeah.
I can't. Yeah, I was going to say I can't. It just feels too high. I've been inching up the episodes lately because I've really been on a roll. I can't even go that hard. I think I'm going to go 7.79.
Yeah. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to write down your score, because when I have to go and do the final oopsies, I have to go back to the video and try to find the moment where we give the ratings, and it is time consuming because we talk forever. All right, so I think what happens in this episode, and it is, I'm speaking from the standpoint of a writer, and it is a tough thing to write an episode of anything. It is a huge task. It is a huge-er task to write a whole season of something, and it is an enormous task to write 6 seasons at 22 or 23 episodes apiece. So it is really, really tough. But something that happens when stuff gets tough, when you've written a ton and you're sort of trapped in a corner as a writer, and one of the crutches you use, like you said, is to start from the twist, start from the end, and then out of convenience, laziness, or necessity, from the standpoint of the writer, you make your characters dumb. You make them dumber than they are, or act out of character with themselves. Because I need this thing to happen. I need this twist to happen. And instead of really going and woodshedding it and figuring out how can I get there in a logical way in which the characters aren't dumber than they are and they're acting within their character, if you try to force a resolution, sometimes you're sort of trapped having to make everybody in the room make the stupid mistake of not spending 5 minutes investigating which twin did this. You make the stupid mistake I see your hand. You're almost there. Go ahead.
Let me just real quick, and then I want you to jump back in because you're making a great point here. You know, we were so quick to put that all on Helen because the bad guy walked because she didn't do her. But at the same time, Eugene's job is for his client to get off.
Right.
And it's an easy acquittal. He was so pissed off about not believing the brother. If he had just said, let me see behind your ear, same difference, same little bit of thing, his client gets off.
Right. He's not representing the brother.
So, yeah. So there you go.
Yeah. No, exactly. And so...
so one more. The brother, who was so cavalier, being like, oh, well, our DNA is the same. You'll never catch me. Yeah, we'll have your DNA and the fucking scar. Why do you think you're going to get an acquittal? Say your brother was like, there's evidence.
It's no, and again, and that's the thing. And the other part of it, like the brother, the brother who did it, also by doing this rape is acting out of character from what we've established of the character. We've only met him for 10 minutes, but we've set up, like you pointed out, it's out of character for him. And there's no explanation as to why he would do this or why now, why this way. And so again, you're writing backwards from the twist and you're sort of dumbing things down, dumbing your characters down for your own convenience so you can get there. Which, believe me, I've done it. I do it all the damn time, and it's tough because it's hard not to. But I can see it when it's happening. And the other, so that's my feeling about that. The Lindsay case, you talked about the sum of the parts, right? And what what does that equal? And with this Lindsay serial killer case, the sum of the parts is worse than this episode, because taken in a vacuum, this case, the serial killer and the Hannibal thing, is an obsession with Lindsay and how she's handling it. Okay, yeah, that's an interesting story. I think it's an interesting story told pretty well. It's performed well. I don't dislike this character. I don't dislike backing Lindsay into a corner like this, and then we're going to go through the fallout of it. I like that. That's a great storyline. That's great. But there are other parts in this. This is not happening in a vacuum. We've already done this twice. This is the third serial killer who has attacked Lindsay. You had Vogelman, who was obsessed with Eleanor, but he stabbed Lindsay. Then the Hinks beat. This is what I think they should have done with Hinks. They should have had Hinks stalk her, then she kills him, then she goes on trial for killing Hinks. That's the storyline they should have done. But you missed that opportunity. You biffed that. And you put Bobby on trial for, okay, so whatever. But it's the same thing. So now coming back this third time, it's ridiculous. It's utterly ridiculous.
Her baby was there, man. She had to protect the baby.
Well, it's not ridiculous that she killed him. It's ridiculous that we're on our third serial killer obsessed with the same fucking character.
But this one's cribbed directly from a very successful 90s movie, Keith.
Well, understood. It's just, it's tough. I get it, right? Because you've got these 7 characters, and you've got 6 seasons. You're over 100 episodes now. You need to have exciting and crazy and wild things happen within the context of your show. You've got sweeps weeks you got to deal with. You've got the season finales and season premieres you've got to deal with. So, like, I get why you're sort of stretched a little thin on crazy, like, exciting things to happen to these characters, but you have drained the serial killer well. You have dug under the well. You went through the mantle and the core and the magma down there, and you've come out on the other hand. We're in China now. Enough already. It's like, I'm going to take it at face value, and I'm going to enjoy it at face value. And like, these episodes are good by themselves. If I hadn't seen season 4 and season 3, I'd be like, wow, how exciting. This is awesome. I can't wait to find out what happens. But I have seen those other seasons. So it's just, come up with another idea, right? Yeah. You already did this one. This is leftovers. And okay, so maybe you added an extra spice to it, but it's still been sitting in the fridge next to the body parts. All right. That's all I have to say about that. Because I'm still excited to find out what happens. See, and here's where they get me, right? Because I'm excited. I already noted the next episode because I was excited to see what happened. And I'm excited to do the season finale because I'm excited to see what happens, and I'm compelled to watch it. So while I am eviscerating this, I'm also I'm in. I'm a mark for this. I want to see it. I'm excited. So I don't know what the fuck to say about this episode. 7.31.
You know, you wonder, like, it's interesting because they seem so willing to explore personal beats of the characters. So there are so much more. There are interesting stories to be told. There's just, there are characters, Rebecca, Eugene, Jimmy, whose personal lives we haven't really explored much more lately. We've been given interesting tidbits. Helen. In addition, something that I think I enjoyed about the show early on, and I enjoy about shows in general, is when we exalt competency, right? We're so used to see on TV like the dum-dums or the Jimmy beats, but it's when they strategically implement a plan or do really smart stuff. That's when I think the show and much of television exceeds. And yet we keep cutting them off at the knees, like we don't let them make the big discovery or, Lindsay picked up on it here. And then or the other thing that they don't do, which they've teased a few times, which is the times where you've got Helen, who's more of an investigative body, and the firm who wants to kind of be less trickery and snake oil salesman. Where's the big investigation? We could have had 2 episodes of now we're finding out, is he faking it? Who's the real serial? There's so many. It's not for lack of ideas. There are other stories to tell, but you're right. TV, the medium at this point in time, was built around huge event television at Sweeps Weeks, cliffhangers at the season finale. It wasn't until much later where we truncated series to a shorter amount of time, let bingeability became a thing, the anti-hero became a thing. But David E. Kelley is on the cusp of it so many times of turning the sort of procedural on its head, and yet we haven't quite gotten there.
I think what we're seeing here, and this is where the real world bleeds into the storytelling, this season, and this arc particularly, seems like a show that has lost its confidence. And because a confident show right now would be making the season arc about a class action suit. The team being competent, like you said, going after big tobacco or going after whatever, like they did earlier, where they trust that their audience is smart. They trust that the audience has bought in and that you don't need to feed us Skittles every episode. And so what was happening in real life right now was the ratings were slipping. And I think they were starting to worry about a renewal for season 7. And I think that there's a little bit of lack of confidence in their audience and a little bit of desperation showing up in the storytelling here. And I think that's part of what is happening. And I'm sure they're getting a lot of, the network is saying look, you guys are super expensive now. And you used to be giving us these numbers, and you got to get them back. And if you're pitching us a class action story about something that doesn't involve something crazy with our main characters, they're like, I don't know if this is going to help you get renewed. So there definitely is external pressure adding to this. So, I talk about these storylines not happening in a vacuum, but the production of the show also doesn't happen within a vacuum. So anyway, it's very interesting to sort of see this play out with David E. Kelley coming back in to sort of rescue a season that was starting to spiral out a little bit and, perhaps overcorrecting. But we'll see. We still have 2 more episodes to this season. So lots of things could happen. We're going to find out. But before we do, we have a Easter egg for Mike to explain to us.
I didn't see Brent anywhere, so...
Well, because you have not watched all of Star Trek yet, you might not know that insane grin on Brent Spiner's face there is very undata-like. But you know what it is like.
Does he have an evil twin?
It's a lot like Data's evil twin, lore!
Oh, he's over there!
Oh, look, that's the evil twin. Mike's going to do something in post. Let's react to it. I don't know what it's going to be, but
what, is he shitting on us? I don't even...
Oh, no, it's lore.
All those strikes, all those Star Trek strikes.
Well, you have gotten through another episode of the Out of Practice podcast. If you would like to talk to us about it, you can reach us by email at outofpracticepodcast@gmail.com. Leave us a note right down below here on the YouTubes. You can also find us on Facebook and Instagram at Out of Practice Podcast. Hey, while you're there, we already asked, but I'm going to ask again. Leave us a rating and review on Apple Podcasts or any other service of your choice. We will happily welcome you into the jury. Write anything you want. Tell us we're bad. It doesn't matter. We're going to read it. We'd like to thank our founding sponsors, Jorge Novoa, Cloud Lover 69, Leanne Wrights, Jennifer Masanova, and Kari Kuhn.
You can get your name on that list. Keith can put you up there on the Photoshop, spell it wrong. Who knows? All you have to do is click on one of the two links in our show notes, which we do every week. Make a one-time contribution or a monthly contribution helps the KME Mogul Enterprise. Trust me, we need the help. In addition, you can just tell some friends that there are two opinionated white guys who talk about TV. Folks, at the end of the day, it wasn't me, it was my evil twin brother. But all you really have to do is have him show you the back of the ear, and you would have seen the scar from those laser sounds.
Laser sounds, laser scar.